Okay, so far we have learned, and if y'all would write at the top, y equals mx plus b. We have learned that the m is the slope, also known as rate. And the b is known as y-intercept, also known as starting point, also known as 1 time feet. So like I said, this lesson is not over anything new. It's more over the presentation of slope and how it could possibly be presented on the STAR test. Are y'all good? What you need to know is that unit rate and rate of change both mean slope. Did everybody hear me? What do they both have in them? What word do they both have in them? And what does rate mean? Slope. So they could say unit rate, or they could say rate of change, and it all means slope. The only difference between the two is a unit rate is broken down where the second quantity is 1. So y'all know how slope has a rise over run? I need everybody paying attention. All eyes up here. Y'all know how slope is a rise over run? For unit rate, the run, the bottom number is always 1. Did y'all hear that? Did everybody hear that? But it's still slope. So you can still do rise over run and you can still do stats. So it does not matter. But a unit rate, kind of like if you go shopping and you buy so many ounces of cereal. They just want to know, like, a unit rate would be how much is it for 1 ounce. Or you buy a package of diapers. Diapers come with like 50, right? Unit rate is how much for 1 diaper. So that's kind of what unit rate is. And rate of change is the same thing, but they might say, oh, 50 diapers cost $25. And this would say 1 diaper cost $1. Something like that. That's the only difference between them. But they're the same thing. They both mean what? Slope. Okay. So let's look at these examples of how it could be asked. And y'all better pay attention because these are how it's presented on the STAR test. They gave you a table. It says the table shows the cost of a car repair service for Y, which includes an appointment fee plus labor. Then the question says, everybody look, this is the clue that you know you're finding slope. Everybody's paying attention. What is the hourly and what does it say? And what does rate mean? So on the STAR test, they're not going to say what is the slope every time. They're going to say what is the rate. And you have to know that that means slope. So can I use stat? All right, so let's go to stat. Do I have to put in the whole table? No, I'm just going to put in 2. So 2 and 4 and 200 and 350. Now I'm going to go to stat calc. Which option do I choose? 4. And the A is the slope. That is the rate. So I got 75. So the question is where would I put 75 on a griddable? Would I put it behind the decimal or in front of the decimal? Because this is a whole number. If you get a decimal, it will give it to you in your calculator. If you don't, it has to go in front. You don't have to fill out the positive. You just can leave that blank if you want. So what was the clue word that told me to do slope? Rate. All right, let's look at the next question. This is a graph. It says, and guys, I'm going to be honest with you, y'all don't even have to read all the word problem. Whenever I'm looking at these, I look at the answer choices and I see what it's asking me in the answer choices. But if you want to read it, it says a dry goods transportation hopper barge is loading dock and being filled with grain. They're representing the hours and how much grain they're loading. Then the question says, the situation is best described by which statement? At this point, I have no idea what this question is asking me. Do y'all agree? But in each answer choice, I see a clue word. Do y'all see the clue word? And per is a clue word for slope, for rate. Do y'all agree? Per is a clue word for slope. So I have a choice. I can do rise over run, or I can use stat. Which one's the safest way to do it? Stat. But to use stat, I have to make a table. I need 2 dots. Here's one at 0, 0, right? All right, that's my favorite. If it passes through 0, 0, you can always use it, but it has to pass through there. Then I'm going to go like this. I don't see one. I don't see. Oh, here's one. Now, here's the hard part about this. The x value of this dot is right between 2 and 3. So what's in the middle of 2 and 3? 2.5. And then the y value is 12. Now I can use stat. And the answer was 4.8. Now look at the answer choices. None of them say 4.8. But one of them is a version of 4.8 multiplied by 100. So y'all see over here it says hundreds. So which one do y'all think is the answer? A, because 4.8 times 100 would give me 480. So your answer might not match perfectly, and let me explain the reason again. On the y-axis, they said each of these numbers represents 100. So that's why 4.8 translated to 480. All right, the last way this can be asked on the STAR test is actually very, very easy. They give you a rate and they ask you to pick the graph that matches it. All you have to do is plot the point. So everybody look. An apartment complex provides 4 covered parking places for every 15 apartments. They are telling you that that is the coordinate. Or it could be 15.4 because it doesn't specify which one it is. Usually the x-axis will be labeled something, so it would either say covered parking places or apartments, but you can kind of see what's the x-axis counting by. It's actually counting by, see how there's one right here? It's actually counting by 5, so which one of these would go on the x-axis, the 15 or the 4? 15. Yeah, so this is probably the coordinate that I'm graphing. So I'm looking. So I go to 15. Here's 5. Here's 10. Here's 15. Y'all agree? If I go up 4, that should be on their line. Is it on there? No. So it's not A. So I go to B. I go to 15. Here's 5, 10, 15. I go up to 4. It should be on their line. Is it on there? Nope, so it's not B. I go to C. 5, 10, 15. I go up to 4. Is that one on their line? So that's the answer. Now, they tried to trick you with D because they put a dot at 15.4. 5, 10, 15. Do y'all see it's at 15.4? But this line is saying it doesn't matter how many apartments there are, you'll always have 4 covered parking places. And that's not true. If 15 had 4, then 30 should have 8. So for every 15, there's 4 more parking places. So it should be going up and not just straight across. So do y'all see why this is the better choice? Yes or no? All right, so your assignment is in the Google Classroom. Again, you're looking for the clue words. Per, each, every, rate. And that is what's telling you they're wanting you to find the slope.